So that's it. Number one, we've got the size of the pullback. Number two, we've got the time and duration of the pullback. Anything else we can think of? Can we look at anything else that's going to give us an idea of the strength of the trend? Well, another thing we can do is to say how it responds to previous levels. So if we had, let's go with a red pen now. If we had like a really big key resistance level there for whatever it is, maybe it was the last all-time high, maybe it was something from before, but whatever, you know, that's our resistance level, and we have the market pushing up. How does price respond to that level? This is going to give us, again, a little insight into, a little window into the strength of the trend. What happens? The price pushes up to it. What does it do? Does it stall? Does it come straight back off it? Does it push straight through it? Fine, but what is the response after that? That's the key, guys. I think this is the point that a lot of people miss who talk about this. And, you know, there's no right or wrong to it. I'm just saying from my perspective, I like to see the response after we've tested, after. What do I mean by that? If we push through, what do we do once we push through? If we just go through like a knife through butter and our pullback comes up here and we're holding up there, that's strong. That has just become a meaningless resistance level. No one gives no one cares about that. Be careful. No one cares about that at all. It's just gone straight through. If there are any sellers there, they've been cleaned right out. In actual fact, from a buyer's perspective, they've loved that. Because what it's meant is they've seen liquidity sitting there. They've seen loads of volume sitting there and they've just gone, thank you very much. I don't care. I want to buy even higher. Gobble. Let me eat all of that supply that's sitting at that level. Let me grab that and keep pushing. That tells you the strength. That is telling you the strength of the market. Similarly, if we had the resistance here, we pushed up to it, we pushed back below and then immediately went higher again. That's that's equally as good. Yes, it's a little slightly bit weaker, but it's still telling us that the strength of the trend is there. The strength is there. They are overcoming that resistance. They're overcoming the little bit of supply that's sitting there. They are not too bothered. Now, let's look at it in a downtrend. We've been a bit too favourite with the bulls, and I love trading downtrends. I love trading bear market environments. That's when I've had my most success over the years. So let's talk about those. Now these guys can get really, really extreme because the fear is the best thing to trade. When someone's scared about losing money and they're scared about, they want to dump out of their fund or they want to dump out of their personal account, my goodness, you can get some great trades off that because they are so insensitive to price. They just want to get out. They're so sensitive to time and so insensitive to price. They just want to get out. So what do? You get brutal down moves and they continue. And you also get people who are buying this thing at these points who then have to vomit the whole thing out when it goes even lower. It pulls back up a little bit and straight away it's being slammed. The algos are slamming it. The people are slamming it. Everyone is slamming it. So if you want to see a strong trend, go back several years back to when we had that bear market. Have a look at the Dow. In fact, go to the flash crash for the Dow if you want. Have a look at the DAX. Have a look at the indices. Have a look at anything that's in a brutal downtrend. And you can see the evidence of strength. Look at the characteristics of what happens in the market. Look at the characteristics of how volume matches up with what's going on in the trend, how short the time, or even, I know we talked about that it takes a little bit of time, but what about when it sits just... It takes time, but it still can't come back. We talk about size here, the pullback. It can't push back. No buyers are willing to pay any more in the case of a downtrend than that. They're just really like, I don't want to pay more. We'll sit there. Sellers are waiting. All it takes is one more thing for it to be smashed into the ground again. You might even get a little push up here and people think, enough's enough. I'm going to smash this again. This is value for me. I'm a seller. I've got more to sell. I'm going to hit it. So look at the broad picture. Look at how it's the angle of the trend, and then look into the window of the trend, and that is the pullback. What is happening is the pullback is giving you an insight into the guys on the other side of the trade, because they're the guys that are going to stop it or not. The worst case scenario, if you don't get it right in terms of picking the other side, is that the dominant side backs off. What do I mean by that? That's what I mean here. Let me just wipe this off, this here. This is a bit misleading, that bit. If you misjudge the fact that the opposing side are weak or long, it doesn't matter, because all that will happen is if the dominant side backs off, you will get this. You'll get a flatlining, right? Because dominant side has pushed in this case, sellers, supply. If they back off and no demand comes in, all that will happen is this: you're not going to get hammered on your trade anyway. So it makes sense to just look at the other side of the trade, because if you get that wrong, that's when you'll get your V-shaped reversal, because if it needs that side of the trade for it to push back the other direction. If you get just this side wrong, you're okay. All you're going to be stuck in is a flag. So some of the things to look at: time of the trend, duration of the trend, size of the pullback, aggressiveness in terms of the angle of the trend, and just using kind of your judgment. You're looking at it, seeing it, taking all the information in. And the best thing, my advice is, and it's something that I do loads, if you haven't got your journal with all your charts in, go back and look at the ones you've marked as heavy trend days. If you haven't got that kind of library of stuff to look at, just go back to your charts. Scroll back, look at the weekdays, look at the strong days, look at the strong months, strong years, and see the characteristics, because that will show you something. And then when you see that in real time in the next trading environment, and you've got a strategy ready for it, you'll be ready. You'll say, listen, this trend is strong. I think it's going to continue. I may not be right, but the odds are I'm right. I'm seeing all the characteristics here. Everything's playing out. Yes, 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 yes. Take my trade, manage my risk, and I'll hopefully make myself some money.